for this topic are as follows. Promising orders key functionality. Our objectives for this topic are as follows. After completing the lesson, you should be able to perform the following. Be able to promise orders optimally and interactively by checking availability. Understand and be able to explain order promising results through the key reports and pages, and also be able to explain key order promising functionality, including splits, substitution, batch promising, and allocation. Our first topic is order promising workflow and availability check. This slide shows a typical order promising flow. First, select the orders you want to promise in order management. Then, schedule them from order management. This calls global order promising, which automatically schedules the orders. Then, check availability in order management. Do this by reviewing results and alternative availability options from global order promising. Look at rules and reports to understand why a promising mode was used. Run what-if simulations to improve the outcome. Finalize scheduling when you're satisfied. After decomposition and orchestration creates fulfillment lines within order management, global order promising can schedule those lines. Scheduling and promising a line means the same thing. In practice, scheduling matches demand to available supply and sets a delivery date for the customer. You can schedule lines in two ways. Directly, if you don't need to review supply options, or from the check availability page where you can see potential results and alternatives, such as different sources, dates, or substitutes, and then pick the best option before scheduling. Sometimes you'll want to improve results for lines that were already scheduled. In these cases, you can recheck availability to see what the system would promise now and compare alternatives. In check availability, you can evaluate supply for multiple demands at the same time. You can also recheck availability for lines that are already scheduled. If certain parts drive your lead time, you can check availability for critical components as part of the analysis. You can update key input attributes and refresh the results to see how the promising outcome changes. You can also adjust the relative priority of lines and immediately review the updated promising results. When you're working with a batch of lines, you can use analytics to compare outcome and determine whether the current promising results are the best option. Keep in mind that everything you do in check availability runs in simulation mode. Nothing is applied to global order promising until you schedule the demands using the schedule button. Also, global order promising can schedule orders or run check availability simulations even when the order is still in draft status, as long as the order has been created and saved. This screenshot shows the check availability page with key callouts. The fulfillment line section. This lets you see the default promising results returned by global order promising. Availability options section. Here, you can review alternate ways to fulfill the order, such as different sources, dates, or substitutes. And the analytics section. Use this to compare promising outcomes and view supply details across different sources to guide your decision. And this is a screenshot of the check availability page, which also shows the Edit Demand Line Settings panel in the More Actions menu. The availability options that global order promising returns are driven by the constraints on the fulfillment line. In the least constrained scenario, no ship from warehouse specified, and both enable splits and enable substitution selected, global order promising finds the best overall way to fulfill the line. It looks across all warehouses, can split by date, and can use substitutes as needed to produce the default option. It then generates additional options that show the best availability from each warehouse, potentially using splits and substitutions. As you add constraints, the options change. For example, if splits and substitutions aren't allowed, global order promising limits the choices accordingly. In the most constrained case, where a specific ship from is required and neither splits nor substitutions are allowed, the options come only from that warehouse, possibly varying shipping methods to meet the customer delivery date. Options are sorted by fulfillment delay, the earliest delivery first, or by cost, or whether substitutes are used. After you prioritize and reschedule order lines, you can run check availability again to see how many lines may now be delayed versus the original promise. You can then reschedule based on the updated priorities. If you don't set a scheduling priority, global order promising sorts lines by requested date across one or more sales orders. Note that you can manually change a line's priority on the check availability page at any time. Just refresh the page to view the updated results. For some items, you may want to delay promising until their hold is released, such as inventory that must mature or pass inspection. Here are the setup steps to achieve this. If needed, enable the promise only after you release holds on the lots feature. In Oracle Fusion Cloud Inventory Management, enter a hold until date for the relevant lots. Note that this capability also works with source promising. Promising uses your manufacturing or enterprise calendar to determine when supply is available. If a lot's hold until date falls on a non-work day, it moves to the next working day. If a hold until date is set for a lot, promising treats supply as available on or after that date. If no date is set, it uses current available supply. For manufactured items, the hold until date applies to each component's on-hand supply. If you've defined pick and pack lead time, promising only uses supply that's available on the hold until date and ready by pick date. The item must be ready before it can be picked. If the hold until date is in the future, the scheduled ship date equals hold until date plus the pick and pack lead time. If the hold until date is in the past, the scheduled ship date equals today plus pick and pack lead time. If there's an ATP time fence and the hold until date is inside the fence, promising respects the fence. If the hold until date is beyond the fence, capable to promise supply is prioritized. Post-processing lead time isn't applied to on-hand supply, but it is applied to future supply coming from transfer orders, purchase orders, or work orders. And last, if you're using allocation, promising allocates supply on a weekly cadence. Our next topic is capable to promise. You can promise a fulfillment line by looking beyond the shipping warehouse. For transfer CTP and by CTP, global order promising can consider supply at other internal warehouses or from suppliers. For make CTP, it can consider the availability of the end item's components and the resources consumed during manufacturing. If there isn't enough supply for the requested item at the shipping warehouse, you can use transfer CTP and by CTP to find alternate ways to fulfill demand. These options are enabled automatically when the applicable ATP rule mode is Supply Chain Availability Search. To enable Make CTP, select Consider Components and Resources in the ATP rule that applies to the items you're promising. Our next topic is Profitable to Promise. In Profitable to Promise mode, global order promising can override your normal sourcing preferences so it can promise from the lowest cost eligible sources. To determine the most profitable way to promise an order, cost factors, including standard cost at internal organizations, standard cost at a supplier, the cost of internal transfers between organizations, transit costs from supplier to internal organizations, and transit costs from the ship from location to the customer site by ship method. When you use Make CTP, global order promising also considers manufacturing-related cost. It looks at the cost tied to resource such as cost per unit of a resource and the cost of the required components. It uses this information to determine the best location to source the promise. To enable Profitable to Promise, select Profitable to Promise on the applicable ATP rule. Our next topic is Fulfillment Line Splits. Global order promising can automatically split a fulfillment line into two or more lines to optimize the promising result. These split lines can be distributed across different warehouses, across substitute items, or across dates. Date-based splits can be based on the requested date or on the earliest date when a promise can be made. The next topic is End Item Substitution. Global order promising can consider substitute end items when there isn't enough supply of the requested item. To use this capability, you need to define end item substitutes and collect that data into the order orchestration data repository. This feature supports several options. It can evaluate substitute priority to determine the best alternate items. It can also supply customer-specific substitution rules. When a substitute is available, it can generate additional availability options based on those alternates. You can control whether substitution is used by enabling or allow substitutes option. Next topic is Support Advanced Fulfillment Techniques. With order promising through drop shipment, you can promise orders using dropship supplier sources. Global order promising can consider supplier lead times, calendars, and calculates the promise date. By default, it also respects the dropship purchase order reservation against an order, but you can manually relax that reservation when you need more flexibility to improve promising results. Promising through back-to-back orders, you can promise orders for back-to-back items using the same standard order promising capabilities you use for other items. After promising is complete, you can release the back-to-back supply recommendation based on how it links each demand line to its recommended supply. Global order promising also honors supply reservations for these orders, including temporary reservations used during the promising process. With order promising through internal material transfers, you can promise a request using global order promising. This also enables you to reallocate supply across both internal request and external customer orders when priorities change. Next topic is configure-to-order promising. Order promising for configure-to-order supports assemble-to-order, pick-to-order, and hybrid structures, such as an ATO model within a PTO model. It can consider lead times for the model and option items. For manufactured ATO items, it can also factor in resource capacity and availability. When you promise a configured order, promising can check whether matching configurations already have availability, and it can evaluate availability for option items and mandatory components. It also supports option-specific and option class-specific sourcing exclusions, so only valid sources are considered. Based on the promising results, global order promising can generate back-to-back supply recommendations for configured items. It also supports drop shipment promising for configured-to-order items when the sourcing setup allows it. And our final topic is global order promising work area to manage order backlog. The screenshot on this slide shows the global order promising overview work area. In this work area, you can review both summary and detailed analytics for your demand backlog. To navigate there, go to the navigator, select Order Management, and then select Order Promising. The screenshot on this slide shows how you can drill down into specific demands. From there, you can run what-if simulations to explore better outcomes and then reschedule orders as needed. To navigate there, on the Global Order Promising page and select Full Pane. In the Open Table, Graph or Tile Set dialog box, select Manage Order Promising Demands, and then click OK. To summarize our lesson, you should have learned how to do the following. Be able to promise orders optimally and interactively by checking